everyone, welcome back to Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Today's video is the remainder of my TBR for October. Everything I'm planning to read that's not Victorian. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name's Alice and I have way too many books. And in the interest of getting through lots of those way too many books, I thought I had better read some books in Victober or October that are not necessarily Victorian, because it will definitely take me longer to read my Victorian books that I've already talked about than it will to read some other books. So I also had quite a few books remaining at the end of September that I had not yet finished, and I have since finished a couple of those, so that's good. One is a buddy read with Art and Mitzi. Art is Art at Bookshelf Odyssey, and Mitzi as in Mitzi Reads and Writes. Both great booktubers who you should definitely check out, who I will link down below. And we've been slowly reading our way through The Day It Rained Forever by Ray Bradbury. This is our third Ray Bradbury buddy read, I think, and I've been absolutely loving it. So this is short stories. We are sort of generally planning to read one short story a day. A lot of them are very short, and so we're still going with this. And yeah, loving it so far. We'll definitely hope to get this finished in October, and autumn is a great season for reading Ray Bradbury, so very pleased we're still reading this. Another buddy read that is continuing is I'm reading the Joe Abercrombie First Law trilogy with Gemma from Gemma Books and Jack from Spread Bookjoy, and we're currently reading the last of the trilogy, Last Argument of Kings. So that has been started and will probably be finished sometime in October, although it's a very long audiobook, but very enjoyable nonetheless. So that's another thing I have got on the go at the moment. I also did have on the go 1,000 Ships by Natalie Haynes. I had borrowed this on the Libby app from the library, and unfortunately it has to be returned so that other people who've reserved it can have a turn with it, and I've gone back in the queue for that. So a little bit frustrating that I'm partway through that book but can't finish it, but that is on the go as well. I think that's everything that I've still got on the go. I would really like to get my giant TBR down this month, and ideally I'd like to get it down to 150 books, which has been the goal all year, but that would leave me needing to read 11 books from my giant TBR. I'm not quite sure that I will get there, what with reading Victorian books, but I thought I would make another TBR pile of possibilities to let you know what else will be sort of interspersed with the Victorian reads. So those are the ones that I'm carrying on with. Some of the rest of these are for book clubs. So let's start with FOMO Book Club, which is the book club that I run with Jack from Spread Bookjoy and Gemma from Gemma Books. And this month and last month we've been reading The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield. We're hoping to have our live show for this. I think it's going to be the weekend of the 5th of November. So watch this space for more information about that. That will be over on Jack's channel. And this one I'm really looking forward to, but I didn't actually get to it in September, so I will be reading this probably next, to be honest, because I don't want to leave it too long. And this one I believe takes place in an abandoned house, and this tagline on the front says, "An abandoned house, 2 parallel stories and a secret that will change everything." I think this one's historical fiction. I think it's going to be quite gothic. I think it's going to be perfect for this time of year, so I consider this book to be very autumnal, and I'm very much looking forward to starting it. So that's a definite on the TBR. Now, the other book club I regularly take part in is the Killer Reads Thriller Month book club, which is hosted by the lovely AJ from AJ Dunn Reads and Writes. And unfortunately, I've got a little bit of a problem with this month's read. This month, we're meant to be reading a book called Fatale by John Patrick Manchette, and this is translated from the French. So I carefully ordered this book from the library, but I made a bit of an error. So I do have Fatale by J.P. Manchette here, but unfortunately I've not been careful enough and I've accidentally ordered this book in the original French. So yeah, I have had a look at it. I do understand some of it, but I'm not going to be able to read an entire thriller in French, even though it is pretty short. So I think this is going to have to go back to the library, and unfortunately they don't have a copy in English, so I may be looking at buying that second hand possibly, but we will see. So I might not be reading that in October after all, but I do still have a couple of books to catch up on for that book club. One is the pick for September, which was A Rage in Harlem by Chester Himes. I really want to catch up on that one, and that's an audiobook, so I'll probably get to that after I've finished Last Argument of Kings with Jack and Gemma. I also still have, I think this was the July pick, The Night of the Hunter by Davis Grubb. I have this out of the library, so I would quite like to get to this one in October. And again, it's quite a short one. It's recently had this lovely republication in these green penguins, so I'm looking forward to reading this one, and hopefully October might be the month when I get to it, seeing as I can't read the October pick because I've ordered it in French. Oops. That's the Killer Reads Thriller Month book club. I've definitely got behind on that this year. There are more books from the year that I haven't managed to read in the right month as well, so still got quite a lot to catch up on with that. That book club is incidentally reading the Penguin Random House's top 60 thrillers of all time, and yeah, this list can be found on AJ's channel. I've also made a story graph of all of the books that appeared on this list at the time, so if you did want to look at that list, I'll link the story graph down below for it. Another reading project I've been joining in with this year was the Into the Library read-along. This was the brainchild of Ange at Ange's Book Chatter and Amy from Booktube with Amy, and together with those two and some other lovely people, we were reading the Aurora Tea Garden series by Charlaine Harris, and October is the month for the final book. You may remember that I read 3 of these books. I think that was back in July or August. I was having a bit of a slump, so I read 3 of them, and now this is October's book, and it's the last one. It's called Sleep Like a Baby, the final Aurora Tea Garden mystery. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to this and seeing how this series wraps up. It hasn't always been a series I've particularly enjoyed. These books have frequently come bottom of the pile in the wrap up because they've mostly been okay, average, moderately good books, but I do quite enjoy these for brain breaks, so I'm looking forward to getting to this, and it's another one I've got out of the library. Hopefully the rest of these are not from the library, because I do need to make some progress with the giant TBR, and these 2 are part of another ongoing read. I've been reading these with Jack from Thread Book Joy and Gemma from Gemma Books again, and this buddy read is of Susan Cooper's The Dark is Rising sequence. We're on to book 4, The Grey King, which I may start this week, and yeah, I think this one is really good. I'm looking forward to getting to it. And the last book, Silver on the Tree, is probably even better. Can't quite remember, but it's a reread for me, but I'm really enjoying introducing Gemma and Jack to this series as well. So I'm looking forward to getting to these 2, hopefully both in October. Apart from that, all of my plans are quite general, quite more like possibilities. One of the things I would possibly like to do is to catch up a little bit with some of my books I've received from Mr. B's Crime Syndicate subscription, as well as the one that I thought would tie in really well with Victober that I definitely will read. The possibles that I need to catch up on are City on Fire by Don Winslow, An Honourable Thief by Douglas Skelton, and On Java Road by Lawrence Osborne. All 3 of these I would be very happy to get to in October, but it will probably only be 1 out of the 3. So if you would like to see a review of one of these 3 in the month of October, let me know in the comments down below which one would you vote for me to read. I think this one is a thriller set in Hong Kong following an expat reporter, and I don't really know much else about it. This one is set in 1715, so it's a historical mystery following Jonas Flint, who's an ex-soldier and reluctant member of the Company of Rogues, which is a shady intelligence group. And this one is about two criminal empires which together control all of New England. I've heard really good things about this one, and I think this one is more an out-and-out thriller, City on Fire by Don Winslow. So let me know which of these three you'd like to see me read first, and I will hope to get to that in October. October is also traditionally a time for reading some spooky reads, and I've been really in the mood for short stories while reading my Ray Bradbury buddy read, and there are two short story collections on my shelf that I think have the potential to have some great gothic spooky short stories. Yeah, so I would love to get to at least some of the stories in these two collections. The first one is by Shirley Jackson, which bodes well because I feel like Shirley Jackson is a very sort of gothic-y, spooky type of writer, and probably her most famous short story is called The Lottery, and that's also the name of this collection. The Lottery is widely agreed to be perhaps the best short story of all time, and I have read that one before, but I haven't read any of the others in this collection, so I'd love to get to this for a bit of spooky reading in October. I'd also love to get to The Birds by Daphne du Maurier. I always feel like I can rely on Daphne du Maurier to provide a good suspenseful read as well. And The Birds, of course, was famously made into the film of the same name by Alfred Hitchcock, and that film really freaks me out because the idea of birds ganging up on humans and like attacking humans is terrifying to me. I find birds very scary, so rightly or wrongly I've decided that this is a scary spooky collection. I don't know if it is, but I'm sure that Daphne du Maurier will not disappoint. So these are both collections I would hope to dip into for some nice cozy autumnal scaring myself type reading. So those are possibilities as well. Hopefully I won't get too off track from this TBR and can enjoy October, sort of spacing those in between Victorian reads. But who knows, I have already had a book out of the library this month and consumed it in a day, loved it, so more on that in another video. But yes, those are some more possibilities for my reading in October. This is a bit of a late TBR because we are already a week into the month. Yes, please do give this video a like if you've enjoyed it. Please do consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments about any of these books. Which ones do you think I should prioritise? Is there one of those three from Mr. B's that you would love to see me read and review in the next month? Do let me know, and if not, leave me an emoji that you think would be appropriate to this TBR, perhaps something a bit gothic or spooky, or just to do with any of these books. I'd love to hear what you are planning to read in October. Is there anything that you're planning for a bit of spooky read? Let me know all of those things in the comments, and I will hope very much to see you all again soon for another video all about books here on Alice and the Giant Bookshelf. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.